Good day, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Access Granted. Today in the hot seat, I've got Mr. Scott Davey. He's the Managing Director from Fusion Integrated Solutions. Good day, man.
Hi, Hendrik. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome, and it's good to have you here. So, give us a bit of a background. Where does Scott come from?
Okay, so born in a small little town on the north coast of KZN called Empangeni,
Oh, okay.
very close to Richards Bay.
Are you still a shark?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay.
It's in my blood.
Nobody's changing.
So born there, only lived there till I was about 2 years old,
Okay.
and then my family relocated to Johannesburg, where I grew up in Waltevreden Park.
Okay.
Went to Waltevreden Park Primary School. I did my primary school years there. And after that, I went to Ram Park High School in Ram Park Ridge, and that's where I did my high schooling. Schooling, I wasn't a huge academic.
Yes.
I was much more into the sports side of things.
It sounds familiar,
yes. Possibly didn't take my academics as seriously as I should have, but I enjoyed school, and I made sure of that. I did very well in things that I was interested in, but things that I wasn't interested in, I just sort of made my way through
Of course,
you know.
What type of sport were you good in school?
So I played a lot of soccer.
Okay.
Started playing soccer at about 5 years old.
Yes.
And I played all the way till about 16, 17 years old, club soccer. In school, I played a lot of rugby.
Yes.
I played hooker.
Okay.
That was my position,
You almost have a resemblance of Mr. Dalton himself, eh?
Mr. Bullet.
Mr. Bullet, eh?
It's been said before,
Yeah. So the sports side, obviously, what I've taken, and a lot of, or even my son asks me these days, but why sport? Why? You have to be part of something. You have to work for something, and actually, when you're young, it actually shows you how to get to a goal.
100%, and I think it builds a hell of a lot of character.
Yes.
You know, you learn to win well, and you learn to lose well.
Yes.
And I think it's in that where sort of leadership qualities and things like that start to get developed, start to come out. So I think sporting was very, very important to me. And it kept me out of trouble for a long time.
Of course, yes. Tell me, you didn't go to university or anything like that?
No, not at all.
So that is obviously one of the points as well that I want to make very clear to the guys out there, and also to the young people, that I also didn't go to university. I did go to college, but in college you get a lot of theory, but there's no practicals or anything like that. So you sit with all of this theory in your head, but you cannot do any practicals. So getting into any market or anything is determination and all of that. So tertiary education is not always, I call it street smarts.
Yeah,
and
the school of life, I call it the school of hard knocks.
Exactly, yeah. So that is actually a very big point that I wanted to make as well throughout this podcast series. That people have got their own journeys. It's not to say that you have to go through a university or a college or any tertiary education to get here. Afterwards, yes, you can dabble in a bit of different courses and that type of thing, especially because it's very easy to do it these days online. But at the end of the day, just having what you have and go for it is the main theme.
Absolutely.
So now after school, what happened then?
So it wasn't really after school. My working career started while I was still in school.
Yes.
I think standard 7, grade 9, I started casual work at Remax with the estates agents.
Yes.
And I was the guy that would phone you at 7 o'clock at night when you're just about to sit down with your family to have dinner and ask you if you're looking to sell your house or if you want a valuation on your house.
Yeah.
So I would do a lot of that type of work for agents in the evenings.
Yes.
I realized that I needed some money.
Of course.
So that was some part-time work that I would do.
Did you approach them to do it, or was it something that fell in your lap?
I can't actually remember. I think I knew somebody within the industry, and that's how I started doing it.
Yes.
And it started off at like once a week type thing, but very quickly I was up to like 4 nights a week. I was at the office, literally canvassing for business, trying to get appointments for the agents and that sort of thing. And it was there that I sort of already found my passion for sales, and I realized that I was quite good at sales, that I had sort of a raw, natural
Yes.
talent for it, and the agents used to sort of have to bargain with each other as to what hours they could get
Of
me
course,
for,
yes.
because I was producing
You're
a
getting
lot of leads. You know, I could make anything between 50 and 70 calls within an evening. And look, you'd make all those calls, and
No, of
you
course.
might only get one lead out of it, but that lead could be great, you know.
But did they at least look after you when you get the lead?
Yeah, so it was on like a commission basis.
Yes.
You would get paid for that lead. Obviously, you get paid for your time, but then you'd get paid for that lead as well.
And I think that was like a baptism of fire into sales, right?
Yeah, tell me about it. That's some of the hardest selling that I've ever done. And then as I sort of grew, then it became a bit more. I would do a lot of door knocking in complexes.
Okay.
So you'd have to bribe the security guard
Yes.
with a 2 liter and a pie to get in. And then it would be knocking on people's doors, which sometimes was great. You'd meet lovely people, and sometimes
course,
you would
yeah.
really, people were not happy to
You know
see
when
you.
to stay and when to run.
How did you get in here? Why are you here? And you know, you got to try and duck and
But I
dive.
think that is one of the main points about a great salesperson is not giving up.
Yeah, you got to be resilient.
You have to
and
be
you have
resilient.
To have a
Some
thick
of the
skin.
it is always a no. You can get a yes, but it's always, you go in with the fact that this is a no. I have to drive for the yes.
And you do have to realize it's a numbers game. I may
Definitely.
knock on 50 doors, but I may only get one lead out of
Exactly,
it, you know, but you have to keep putting in that repetitive,
Definitely,
continuous work into it. So yeah, I stayed with Remax, and I grew there. I started doing a lot of Sunday show days and that type of thing.
Okay, yeah.
I would do house sitting and that type of thing, and sort of improve my sales skills there. And then I moved into sort of a more organizational, managerial type role, in that I would organize all the show days for the guys.
Okay.
So it was my job to make sure we have enough sitters for the weekend.
Yes.
All the brochures are done, all the adverts are done and posted. And I think that sort of was my introduction more to a sort of operational project management sort of area.
Yep.
I mean, at some stages I was running up to 30 show days on a weekend by myself. Then I stopped house sitting and all of that, and I would only look after the people doing that, and then I'd run around between the houses, taking offers, trying to close the deals, that sort of thing. So I enjoyed that a lot. And then during that time, Remax was huge on workshops and sales workshops and that sort of thing. So I got a lot of that
Up on that.
a lot of that sort of exposure, you know, body language, closing deals, getting over obstacles, you know, loads and loads of courses like that, which I think really sort of helped me hone my sales skills as well. And then when I left school, I went permanent. And I as soon as I left school, I qualified as an estate agent. I did my board exam and that, but I still worked within a team. I was very young and still needed quite a lot of guidance. And I did well. I made some good money.
Yes.
But that was the same time around when they introduced the new Credit Act.
Yes.
Basically to protect buyers from themselves and to stop the banks giving too much money that people can't afford to pay back.
That put a bit of a break on the industry.
It crashed the property market at that stage, and where we were getting like 30, 40 people through houses on a weekend, you're lucky if you're getting two. And then when you did get an offer, the likelihood that guy would actually get the bond was very unlikely.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of work, and a lot of people sort of left the industry at that stage.
Yes.
The other thing I realized is that I did not like working when other people weren't working.
Oh yes, the weekends.
Yeah, so in real estate, you know, it's evenings, it's public holidays, it's Sundays. So when the family's all together having a braai and getting together watching sports, and you're working. And I didn't like that side of it. You know, on a Sunday I'd be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going out, putting out all the boards, all the banners for the show days, getting everybody sorted. And then I'd finish at like 8, 9 o'clock at night sometimes. So yeah, I didn't enjoy that part.
Yes.
So I decided it was time for a change. And I had a short stint at a company called Finance Online. And they specialized in like rental finance. Specifically in the copier PABX type industry.
Like your office automation stuff.
Correct, yeah.
Yes.
Some CCTV involved in there. So basically what they would do is Konica Minolta, for example, would come to them and say, we got this client, we want to finance a rental.
Oh, okay.
We would then go to the banks, get the best offers, but it was very much an admin job. My job was like to put all these documents together, make sure all the signatures are in the right places.
Yep.
And I failed horribly. Admin was not my thing. And I'd been there about 6 months, and the owner there, she came to me and she said, look, this is not working. So I said to her,
you agreed.
I said to her, okay, I realized that, and I agree. This is not my thing. I said, but let me try sell for you. Let me try and go and get some new customers on board for you.
Yes.
You know, it was all very much focused on office automation, copiers and that sort of thing. So I said, there must be more of a market for this type of thing. There must be other products. And so I started delving and looking into what other products could we do that are out of the norm. And I investigated all types of things, and I got some nice deals. Like I financed a deal for speed cameras. I financed a deal for a milking machine, for a cow, for a farmer. And
that's not office automation anymore.
No, completely.
But nobody cared.
Completely different, yeah. And
because that time you take a piece of the financing, obviously.
Correct, yeah. And then obviously there's a monthly rental, so I earn a little bit off the monthly rental. And it was in that time of investigating these different industries that I stumbled upon access control, and more specifically turnstiles, boom gates, that sort of thing. And I managed to set up a meeting with the owner of Turnstar, Mr. Sydney Sachs.
Mr. Sydney, yes.
And I went and visited him, and I gave him my story. And at the time, I don't think they saw much value in that sort of thing. And they said I had a lot of questions and wasn't sure and that sort of thing. Anyway, that meeting over, my sister-in-law was in recruitment. And I was chatting to her on that weekend, telling her about the meeting I'd done. And she said, oh, Turnstar.
Oh my goodness.
Sid. I said, yes. She said, they're looking for a salesperson. Oh, wow, okay. So she set me up an interview with them. So a few days later, and Sid was like, you back again? And I said, well, not for the same reason. I'm actually here for the interview, you know. I probably had about 5 interviews.
Goodness, okay.
At Turnstar. Eventually got the job and left and went to Turnstar. It was supposed to be a stepping stone job for me. I wasn't doing well at the other company. Had bills to pay. Seemed like a good job. So I started, and I still remember thinking to myself, like, what is the market for this product? How much of this product could the world possibly need?
It was a total eye-opener.
Huge.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't realize that. So I've seen 1 or 2 of these things around, but but then I learned fairly quickly the demand for this type of product.
Yes.
So my first 2 years at Turnstar Systems were not good years. I didn't do very well. I think I got 2 written warnings within my first year. I think I crashed one of their cars within my first year as well. So it wasn't good, and I didn't think that I was gonna survive there.
Yes.
Sort of as time went on, I guess I grew up a little bit. I was still very young. I was only 19. I started at Turnstar in 2007. So I grew up a little bit, and I think one of the turning points for me, where I think Turnstar started trusting me a lot more, was there was a job that I was pursuing for Virgin Active.
Okay.
Virgin Active have decided that they were now going to start putting spike barriers in all of their car parks. They were having a lot of vehicle theft and that sort of thing. So I had been going up and down with Virgin Active for some time on this and trying to get the work. Eventually I got given a POC site, Virgin Active Randburg.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, we got the site, all very exciting. Got all the equipment together. Got a subcontractor at that stage to install, to do the concrete work and the electrics and all that sort of thing. Arranged to have the equipment delivered to site. I went with the equipment to site. met with the subby on site, successfully delivered all the equipment,
Okay.
got the subby going and said, okay, I'm off now. I'll be back later to come and check. And I don't know, about 4 or 5 hours later, I got a call from the club manager at Virgin Active, and they said to me, where's your guy?
Uh-oh.
I said, he's on site, he's busy installing. They said, no, he's not. I said, you better get back here quickly. Get back, the equipment's still sitting on the side of the road, subby's disappeared, gone. Try and phone him, can't get hold of him. So now I'm in trouble.
Of course.
So I'm only about 2 years old at Turnstar. So I phoned Sid at the time and I said, Sid, I'm in big trouble. This was done through Taika ADT at the time. And I said, these guys want a meeting here now.
Yes,
the big guys from Taika here, the big guys from Virgin Active are here, and they're not happy, I need help.
Yes.
And Sid said, okay, I'm on my way, I'll come through. The time the meeting was supposed to start, there was still no sign of Sid. And I phoned him and he said, oh, I'm just leaving the office now.
Oh, goodness.
Oh my word. So I was really squirming. Anyway,
Yeah.
I had to take that meeting on myself.
Yes.
And I think that was my first introduction into a proper hiding from a client. But I handled it. I got through. Then Sid arrived on site as I was walking out of the meeting. And I said, well, this is now done.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, we'll talk when we get back to the office.
Yep.
Got back to the office, and I explained what had happened and the trouble we were in. And I was really hoping it's okay, Scott, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. We're going to sort this out.
Yes.
And he actually just said to me, there's two kinds of problems in this world. There's mine and there's yours, and this one looks like yours.
Okay.
So it was like, you need to fix it.
Yes.
And I had to run around, try and find a new subby, try and get things done. I managed to get someone on site the next day, and we eventually managed to complete the project.
Yes.
But I think from Turnstar's point of view, they then saw, okay, there is some potential with this guy. He can hold his own. He is, and he's able to sort of sort out a problem, to handle an issue. And that's kind of when the trust relationship kind of shifted. And I then started getting more responsibilities and that sort of thing.
I think they're used to having problems like that, but putting you through that and actually seeing that you can work through it is amazing. I had the same when I was at Unitlocks with Mr. Raymond Noppi there. And many times you think you can fall back on the boss to come and help you out for something, and says, no, handle it yourself. See what can be done. You've got it in you.
No, I guess at the time I felt a little bit abandoned.
Of course, no, you
but
do.
Looking back, I now understand
Exactly.
what he was doing and why he was doing it.
Exactly, yeah.
And then, Turnstar back then was not the powerhouse that it is now. It was a much smaller company, family-owned business.
Yep.
And you had to sort of do everything. I was employed as a salesperson, but we didn't have project managers. We didn't have a design team. We didn't really have a proper accounts department at that stage. So we kind of had to do everything.
Exactly,
I was sent on an AutoCAD course, so I learned to do my own drawings and understand drawings very quickly. We used to do our own layout drawings and that sort of thing. We also had to do all our own project management. We didn't have project managers that we could hand a job over to and say, run with it. We had to do it ourselves, from scheduling the technician to making sure the site was right, to making sure the money's being paid. We had to do absolutely everything at that stage. And I think for me, that was extremely powerful.
Yes.
Because it gave me a very good understanding of the whole entire business and how everything actually works. And it also gave me an opportunity to become very technical.
Yes.
So, you had to learn your product to make sure that what you're providing is going to work with the client.
Exactly,
it's going to work on site and that sort of thing. So I became very technical very quickly. And I think at Turnstar, just sort of my theory was put your hand up for everything.
Yes.
If it's your business, if it's not your business, if it's your job, it's not your job, it didn't matter to me. I'd put my hand up and I'd take it on, even if I had no idea. I would take it on and I'd find a way through it, and educate myself at the same time.
Yes. And that trust, when both ways, because every time you put up your hand, they will give it to you.
Correct,
And,
yeah.
and because they know probably there's a lot in you that can do that.
Yeah, and I think I had some really good role models and mentors at Turnstar. When I started, there was a guy called, or still is a guy called Ryan Dougal. He's now the director of Turnstar UK. So
Okay.
he's relocated to UK and
Yes.
he runs that branch. But he sort of took me under his wing when I arrived there and really helped me, showed me the ropes. And then obviously I had Sid.
Yes.
And Sid is unbelievable human being. And I've really had the privilege of being able to work with him for so long and learn so much from
Yes.
him, on sort of both from a business perspective, but also from a personal perspective,
Of
and
course, yeah.
how to handle yourself. So, and then obviously Craig Sachs as well, who's one of the owners of Turnstar as well. We've been working together for a very long time. And yeah, I learned a lot from him as well. And they gave me a lot of rope,
Yes.
a lot of freedom, which was great. But I could also cause a big problem with myself
No, of course, yes.
with that sort of freedom.
They just need to know how much rope they...
Yeah, well, the thing is, when they gave too much rope and I made a mistake, well, it was my mistake, you know.
You took it on yourself again.
Correct,
So,
and
yeah.
I had to take accountability and responsibility for
Yeah.
it. But which was great, because it gave me such a good understanding of
Yes.
business. And then the other thing for me at Turnstar was I got so much exposure to
Yeah.
the access control market.
Exactly,
I got
yeah.
to work with some of the
Everybody.
real big names, some of the real
Yes,
smaller names, but everybody.
exactly.
And I got to spend a lot of time with some of the great minds within the industry.
Yes.
And that's invaluable. I can't pay enough money for
Exactly,
that sort of experience. And not just people, but also in the different sectors.
Yes.
You know, be it in the corporate sector, mining, education, health and fitness. I got exposure to all of
Exactly,
that.
yeah.
And then later on, I got heavily involved in the export side of the business
Okay.
as well. So I started dealing with customers all around the world.
Yes.
So
Which
then
is
I
again
was
another experience.
absolutely, I was exposed to what guys are doing all over the world,
Yeah.
how they're doing things, how it differs in their
Yes.
country. So from an experience point of view, there was just so much for me to
Exactly.
to
yeah.
absorb. But I guess in the beginning, I wasn't completely sure that that's what I wanted to do. I think a lot of people, security finds them. They don't find security.
Definitely.
But I think that sort of a turning point for me myself as to this is cool, this is something I want to do, was Turnstar were fortunate enough to win a lot of the stadiums for the
yes.
2010
Yeah, yeah,
World
yeah.
Cup. And I remember I got asked to go out to Soccer City just to confirm a few measurements. I was still very young at that time.
Yeah.
They didn't really let me get involved in the big negotiations and that. But I remember standing on site there with my tape measure and taking the measurements and just looking around me
Yeah,
at
no,
what
wow.
is busy happening, and the site was just going crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I thought, this is so cool. I know I'm just the tiniest little drop, but I'm part
it.
of this picture.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's when I kind of felt this is cool.
Yes.
It just gave me so much sort of personal fulfillment to
Yes, yeah,
know
yeah.
just a tiny part, but I was part of this project, you know.
I think it happens to a lot of guys, especially in this industry where your daily job is just going on and on, but you don't know how much impact you actually have out there. Your little part that you
Yeah.
are doing is a bigger part for other people. And if other people look at your equipment or whatever you're using, you say, well, what is this? We've never known about this and that type of thing. And like you say, something like entrance control might look mundane to some people, but for other people, you are securing a stadium. You are securing the main points for the whole government, that type of thing. It was actually eye opener for me as well. Internationally, full light installs is not very well known. It is always half heights and tripods and that type of thing, because there's, I don't know if it's an Africa thing or whatever, it's a trust issue. They see it as normal flow control. For us, it's literally security. It's an access granted.
Look, I think, you know, especially with technology moving in that, there's a lot of questions around is the physical barrier still going to be relevant?
Yeah.
And I think in South Africa, especially,
Definitely.
it's going to be relevant for a very long time.
Yes.
But you might look at countries in Europe, Australia, places like that, and say, well, they don't need these high security products because they behave, they do what they're supposed to. But there's all kinds of new threats coming into the world.
Definitely.
From a terror point of view, from an extremist point of view, and that sort of thing. And this has sort of reignited these countries into getting their security up to standard and putting a lot more physical security checks and things like that in place.
Definitely.
It's sort of reinvented itself that way. So I do believe that there's always going to be a space for the physical barrier.
Definitely.
Obviously enhanced by technology and AI and that sort of thing. I was fortunate enough to go and watch quite a few games.
Of course.
I was able to get some tickets through my job at Turnstar.
Yes.
And also just, walking through those turnstiles that we had put there, using the ticket machines that we had integrated with. That was really exciting, and that's sort of something that I guess...
And seeing it working.
Yeah.
And having a full solution up and running.
100%. And that was quite rewarding for me. And that, I guess, is where I thought to myself, what, this, I like this. I could do this, Yeah.
Tell me now, there's now a lot of questions that I wanted to ask you on the project management side and that type of thing, obviously now having your own business. Your transition between working for a company like Turnstar for, it was 12 years.
17.
17, sorry.
Yeah, I started in 2007,
years. So it's almost where I'm now with ZK. I think, this year is my 17th year. 18th year. Last year was 17. So now, obviously having all of that experience and all of that, how was the transition between working for a company like that and now having your own business?
Look, it is very different. I think the first point that stands out to me immediately, having your own business compared to working with a company, is you're working with your own money.
Yes.
So costly mistakes hurt just that much more. I think that's the first thing. The second thing is from a accountability point of view.
Yeah.
Like the buck stops here. I mean, very much with Turnstar, I behaved like that, and I made the buck stop with me, and that's the thing. But now it really does. You don't have anywhere that you can go and say, "Flip, this has gone wrong. Help me. What can I do?" At the end of the day, the accountability lies with you.
You have to talk with yourself in the shower at night.
Exactly. Yeah. And obviously, there's managing people.
Yes.
Which is a big thing. I've always said I'd much rather manage 1,000 customers than 10 staff.
Yes.
Managing staff can be difficult. So that's also been quite a challenge. I mean, I was in a sales managerial role at Turnstar.
But it was still controlled.
And it was supported, and there was always someone you could go to for help in that when you needed it.
Yes.
So that's been a big change for me. But also, when you put together a project and that project comes off and it works well, and you stand and you look at that, there is just so much pride in that, and there's just so much fulfillment in what you've done. And you can sit back and go, I did that, and that I really like. There's a lot of freedom, obviously, but with a lot of freedom, you need to have a lot of discipline.
And responsibility, yeah.
Correct.
Definitely.
I mean, you need to make sure you're getting those calls in. You need to make sure that you're at the office at 7 o'clock in the morning, just like you used to be.
Exactly,
that you continue repeating the same behaviors that have worked for you in the past. It's very easy to say, oh, well, I'll just get out of bed a bit later. And, that takes a lot of discipline.
I mean, coming from a sales point of view is, which I also, when I started with ZKTeco, when our head office asked me to open the branch in South Africa, is from a sales point of view, we know how to get money into the bank. But now to run people, to run a company, all of that comes onto your plate now, and it's something that a lot of people don't realize when you get into this type of thing.
Look, I think I'm quite a unique person in that my core skill set is sales, but very, very close to that, I've got very strong project management skills, which have been taught. Sales was quite a natural thing for me.
Yep.
Project management, I had to learn.
Yes. But you had a lot of experience from the 10-star days.
100%,
Yeah.
a lot of project management experience. And even when Turnstar grew into what it is today,
Yes.
I still got heavily involved, especially with the bigger projects on the project management side
Exactly,
and that
yeah.
sort of thing. I couldn't leave it. I wasn't a salesperson that could be like, okay.
You want
and
to
then
have hands-on.
I had to be involved, and I had to make sure that what I had promised the customer was in fact what was being done, and
Exactly, yeah.
it was being handled in a way that had been promised to him. So I was never able to just walk away from it once I had made the sale.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for that now, because now that's really, really been beneficial to me
Of
now
course, yeah.
going forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me now, we've seen this movie over and over in our industry where guys have been with companies for a long time and then try to do their own thing just to see these guys coming back, looking for job again or whatever. What would you say was your, because you've been going for a year now, a year and a few months. What is your winning recipe? What would you say makes you different from, I know every instance is different, but what would you say, do you think you've done differently for
Well, I think
having a
if
successful company now?
If I had the winning recipe, I wouldn't be sitting here.
You're still working on the recipe.
But look, it is something I've seen a lot over the years,
Yes.
especially being in an OEM type
Exactly.
position. You see everybody in the industry, you see what's happening.
Yeah.
I guess the one thing that I've noticed is that often people were sort of forced into that decision. It might be something they've always thought about, something they've always wanted to do.
Of course, yes.
But never kind of went for it, you know?
Yes.
And then you find they might get retrenched, or a job they're at might not work out, and
Yes.
that's when they decide, okay, now I'm going to do this.
Of course.
So there's really not enough planning in it. There's not enough direction. How am I
Yes.
actually going to do this? It's sort of quite a spur of the moment thought. And that's just what I've witnessed in the industry.
Yeah. But your part, I mean, you have now your own company and stuff. Did you plan it before leaving Turnstar?
It's always been something that's been on my mind.
Yes.
And it sort of brings me to my next point, is that you need resources, you need capital
Of course.
to start a business.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got a family, you've got overheads you need to pay.
Yes.
Obviously, you've got business overheads, you need to put fuel in your vehicles, you need to pay people,
people, yeah.
all that sort of thing. And I think a lot of people enter it without that sort of little nest egg
Yes.
to get you going. So after 2 to 3 months, it takes long to
Yes.
start getting work in. It doesn't happen in the first month.
Definitely not.
And I think that the guys just run out of finances very quickly. So it was something that I started doing, is preparing for that for a long time. I didn't know how, when, what,
But you
but
had it.
it was something I had prepared, and I felt very much I'd hit a ceiling at Turnstar. And I think there was sort of just, it's the same thing every day, in and
Yes.
out.
You got that triggers that you need to do something else.
Yeah, and I wanted more. I didn't feel like I was growing anymore. I didn't feel like I was evolving as a person.
Yes.
So I guess ultimately that was one of the things that pushed the decision for me.
Just on that point, I think it's also very important for people to understand that they are not disrespecting the company. They're not disrespecting the company that you're working at for having those thoughts, because if you as a person think that this is the max that I can go here, I need more, then you have to make that decision.
But then it becomes a personal decision.
Exactly.
It's not because I wasn't looked after or I
Exactly.
wasn't happy
Yeah.
or that sort of thing. It's a personal decision.
yeah.
It's very easy to get very comfortable at a company,
Definitely,
especially when you're very well looked after.
Yes.
You enjoy your job.
Yeah.
And then, kids, houses, all that.
Yes.
You've got responsibilities. So it's not that easy to leave a job, especially
Exactly,
not
yeah.
in South Africa.
No.
And go and do something on your own. So, winning recipe, you got to be able to sell, Hendrik.
Yes.
You got to be able to get the work. You have to be able to generate the leads and bring that work in.
Yes.
You can have all the technical expertise in the world. You can literally know every solution.
Yes.
But if you can't get that client in, doesn't matter what you know.
You have to get the sale.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's been good for me, is at heart I'm a salesperson.
Yes.
And I know how to sell. I know how to do tough selling. And yeah, you got to get that work in. That's the most important thing.
Exactly, yeah. Tell me now some of the obstacles and stuff that you run into daily, giving some insight also to guys that is getting into this market and that type of thing. What would you say is some of the highlights the guys need to have a look at? What is it that you guys are running into?
I don't know if I'd call it obstacles or just challenges. I think the biggest thing for me is really understanding my customer's business or my customer's requirements. I don't think that salespeople always spend enough time understanding their clients and understanding their unique challenges, because every business, every customer is different.
Of course.
So I think first it's about understanding what their challenges are and how to deal with that.
Yes.
Only then can you start looking at a solution. Then it's about finding the correct solution.
Yes.
But I think the challenge is finding the correct solution at the customer's budget.
Of course, yes.
And that's where sometimes it becomes very difficult.
You have to be very creative.
Correct. And I think it's really about guiding the customer and explaining the different options and what you're going to get for each option and where the value in the solution lies. And one of my biggest challenges, and something that really actually upsets me a lot, is implementation and getting the customer to change their culture in order to work with their solution. You know, you might put a turnstile with access control at a change room for a client, and they're supposed to come in, go through the change room clock for their time and attendance and all of that. But then they leave their roller shutter at the back wide open.
Yes.
And then they say, Scott, but the system's not working. But your roller shutter's standing open. You need to change the way you do things.
Yes.
There's so many sites I see where guys spend a lot of money on access control. Residential buildings in town. They put turnstiles, readers, everything in place, but then they've got a bypass gate next to it that the security guard's got a key for. So you spend hundreds of thousands, but you've got a gate that stands open all day long. So, you know, the implementation from the customer side, you can only guide them so far. And if they're not willing to do that little bit themselves, the system doesn't bring the full value that it should. And I become very vested in these types of jobs. And I love the outcome. That's what really excites me, is looking at it going, this is what we've done and this is how it's going to benefit the client. But very often, I wouldn't say very often, but quite often, you don't get to see all of that because the customer just doesn't implement correctly.
No, definitely,
And you can hold his hand for as much as you can, but eventually there's only so much that you can do.
I mean, there's many times where I worked on very big projects, and just to return a year later to the same building, just to go and check, are you guys still happy? Is there anything that you want to add? And then you walk in and then all the doors are open. None of the biometrics are being used. None of the mag locks, anything is being used.
Well, there's a casino in Joburg that when I go there, it always boggles my mind. They got some of the fanciest, most expensive booms there.
Yes.
Some of the best parking access control. But when you're leaving, you still encounter a security guard with a traffic cone.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I just, it's like something's gone wrong there for me, you know.
Yeah.
Why have we spent all this money but still reverted back to a man in a traffic cone? That boggles my mind.
Tell me, I've asked this question to a lot of the guys in the distribution industry previously on the podcast, is in today's market, how much of the decision of what is being put in is driven by the end user and how much is driven by you as the installer and the implementer and the builder of the solutions?
It's an interesting question. I think first and foremost, the solution is still driven by the installer, by the integrator. But however, customers are much more educated than they used to be. Customers have information at their fingertips. Now with AI, they can literally jump on and say, you know, this is what I want to do, and it'll give them a list of product solutions. And so the customers become a lot more solution orientated because it's easy to get that information. Also, the customer has the problem. So the customer develops the need for the solution. And as an installer, it's called a solution because there's a problem, right? So you have to find the solution to the problem that the customer has. So I think from a solutions technology point of view, the installer is the expert. they know the solutions and what works and what doesn't.
Yes.
So I think from a solutions point of view, it's still very much driven by the installer, even by the OEMs and
Yes,
that sort of thing.
of course.
But I think the customer is becoming much more relevant in that space, as they're very well educated these days, and they can get the information that they need.
Yes.
You know, very often you'll go to a client now and you'll say, I've got this problem, but I've already seen X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
You know, and they've already sort of got their heart set on something, or they've already seen something that interests them. So from that side, I think the customer's starting to drive it a bit more.
So the solution is what is the movement when, is there some of the end users that will ask for a specific brand?
100%.
Is it? So guys will go out and say, I want that, I want that.
Correct, yeah.
So that is how deep they do the
especially when you're dealing with your bigger companies that have a security division or a facilities maintenance division.
Yes.
These guys are educated. A lot of them do their own maintenance on their sites and that sort of thing. So they know the products. They've tried things that work. They've tried things that haven't worked. And some customers will be very open, and other customers will say, this is the way we're going. We've used it. We trust it. We like it. That's how we're doing it.
Okay. Tell me, is there any, from your background now in entrance control and now with your experience installing the stuff as well, do you think there's any product that is emerging that is changing the market a bit?
Well, I think the obvious one is the introduction of AI. I think the industry is going to change a lot over the next few years. I think it already is, and I think it's going to happen quickly. So yeah, for me, I think that's the biggest game changer within the industry.
Yes.
I don't know if we 100% know which way it's going to go yet.
Of course not.
Other than the obvious things that we're already seeing now.
Yes.
But I think that's really where we're going to see big changes. So I don't know if it's necessarily from a product point of view or how we use the products, how we interpret the data that we're getting out of these products, and how do we use this to become proactive. So not just, okay, I've got a camera.
Exactly, yeah.
Now I see the guy. I mean, I've seen videos of guys climbing up camera poles and stealing the battery.
Yes.
The last thing you see is the guy's face. So it's about how to use these tools to be proactive and prevent stuff from happening before it does.
Have you seen some use cases already on something like that?
I mean, the obvious is with, I think, in the CCTV
which is driving
space.
the most security stuff. Yes.
Correct, yeah. So I think that's the obvious one to look at now. I was trying to think if there's anything else that jumps out at me at this stage.
Because it's a question that I always ask, and obviously AI is on everybody's lips, and there is probably going to be a breakthrough some or other time, not just with cameras, but within the full security industry.
I think also the way that products are going to integrate with each other.
Yes.
You know, you got a CCTV system that's obtaining this information. Then you got an access control system that's doing this. You've got your physical barriers that are doing that. And how these devices are sharing information with each other. I think that's going to become a very big thing. I think the days of sort of standalone systems are going to be gone, and everything is going to be integrated into sort of one product.
And obviously at the end of the day, I think systems like that can also make maintenance for the installer much easier. Having the SLAs in place, but the system that talks back to you and say, maybe this motor of this boom gate is pulling a bit hard, maybe send somebody out, or that type of analytics these days. Previously it was very difficult to monitor it the whole time because so much data coming from so many sites and everything, and having a system that will do that type of monitoring for you, I think
and you've got to have a human to sort through all that data.
Exactly.
And I think that's also why a lot of systems don't work out, because companies just don't have the resources to sift through that data and find the information that they're looking for. And in this day and age, information is key. I think it's probably one of the most valuable commodities on the planet at the moment. My money is in information.
I think previously the saying was cash is king, but I think these days information
goes a lot further, 100%.
Definitely, yeah. Tell me then, on the technology side, there is internationally there's this competition between mobile phone access, the mobile credentials that you put on the phone, and the guys can clock off their phone and stuff. And the other side is now biometrics. What is your feeling about South Africa? Are we more? Do you see a lot of the mobile credentials taking play, or what do you see?
I guess I'm starting to see more of it.
Okay.
I think both still have their space within the market, but where the mobile credentials, mobile apps, and that sort of thing, I'm really starting to see it is that people don't want manned entrances anymore.
Yes.
They don't want guards to have to manage their security. They don't want their visitors. They don't want receptionists to have to manage their visitors.
Yes.
People want humanless. So they don't want people involved. And that's where I see a lot of the mobile stuff coming into the market.
Yes.
It's, you're able to send a guy a link that's coming to visit you. He can enroll himself on the system. He's enrolled on the access. He can get access to where he needs to go. It gives the guy a notification to say this guy's arrived at your site.
Yes.
All that sort of thing. So it's taking the human element out of it.
Yes.
And it's really making things a lot more flexible, a lot smoother from that point of view. So I think they still both have their place. But yeah, I am seeing quite a lot of the mobile sort of authentications coming into the market.
Because I think that is mostly driven by the visitor management systems.
A lot,
obviously.
yes.
Because that is also something that we have different in South Africa than the other countries. The other countries, the visitor management starts at the reception and not at the gate, physically like here in South Africa. There's almost no other countries that I've spoken to of the CEOs in other regions where they tell me, no, but we have to scan the guy's driver's license when he comes in at the gate. You normally drive in, and only at reception, there is where it takes place.
But having these sort of processes done prior to the guy even arriving on site,
yes.
That's, even things like inductions and medicals and things like that, getting that all sorted before you arrive at a site.
Yeah.
It saves so much time.
Of course.
What was the other thing I wanted to say now? Oh yeah, there's obviously the introduction of all these delivery services.
Yes.
Online
Which is
shopping.
a very big pain for a lot of
your
sites,
Checkers, your Takealot, and you're having loads of these visitors at your residence, at your place of work, that sort of thing. How do you manage these guys now? Because anybody looks like a Checkers driver, anybody looks like a Uber driver.
Exactly, yeah.
And, that's important. And I think, one day, if we can start linking these platforms together,
that is where winning recipe will
100%.
Yeah.
Whereas now, your Checkers guy arrives, you ring your bell, you have to open it.
Yes.
Then he leaves. You don't really know if he's gone, where is he gone. Like one of the things I notice is a guy might be doing a delivery in our complex, but he's delivering to 3 units.
Yeah, exactly.
So he finds that unit and gets in, and then just arrives at your door, which is not safe. It's
It is not safe for all the systems that you put in place for people to be safe in this.
100%.
Yeah.
So I think in that space, in the visitor management space, I think there's a lot of development that's going to be happening. Or it's already happening.
It's already happening.
And I think we'll start seeing it.
I think there can be a lot more done, even like you said, with the deliveries and all of that. Tell me, moving over to the last section, the personal side. If you could talk to young people now and giving them insights into our industry to get them into this industry, because we need the technicians, we need the programmers, we need all of that. What will your words to the young people that just left school to make this industry of ours a bit more sexy for them to join?
Look, I think the first thing that stands out to me and has stood out to me over the years is that there's work. In security, there's always work.
Always, yes.
And companies have to have budgets for this type of thing. So the work is there, especially in South Africa, the work is there. So I think that's quite an exciting advantage, is that there's always going to be work. I think it's an exciting time because of the advancements in technology and AI and that sort of thing. To be on the forefront of that sort of development and that. It's exciting, and to see which way it's going to go and how we're going to use these tools going forward, I think is very exciting. And And from my side, I find a lot of fulfillment in the industry. I find that I feel like I am adding real value.
Yes.
And if I'm able to help protect a person or an asset or a property,
Yes.
that gives me a lot of fulfillment, that I actually made a difference.
It's coming back to that stadium feeling again. Looking at the turnstile, looking up. Oh, wow.
And that's where I get my sort of my happiness from is looking back at it at the end of it and going,
oh, yeah.
This is doing what it's supposed to. The client is happy, and I've added value here. I really have done something that's going to help these guys going forward. And then, you know, sometimes you get the odd CCTV video and whatever showing what the product's done and how it helped a customer.
Yeah.
You know, someone stole a car and, you know, tried to exit, wasn't able to exit, and they caught the guy or whatever. You know, I see these types of things, and that really makes me very happy because it's not just product you've installed, it is actually serving its purpose and doing what it's supposed to. And I get a lot of satisfaction from seeing that.
Tell me, is there anything that you will tell your 20-year-old self, if you have to, can go back in time? Is there anything that you will tell him?
I think that always put your hand up, continue to put your hand up, because that's where the growth comes from. Don't be scared to put your hand up and take things on, whether you know how to do them or not. Always try and act within integrity. I think that's been key to my success, is the relationships that I've built, but based on my integrity.
Yes.
People learn, this is a guy I can trust, it's a guy who'll have my back, and it's a guy that I can go to when there's trouble, you know.
Yes.
But you only get that from being honest and acting with integrity. My 20-year-old self, just relax a little bit.
Just relax. Everything will work out.
Yeah, and I think just believe in yourself. You know, I think that's quite a big mental block for a lot of people.
Definitely, yes.
They may have the skill set, they may know how to do it, but they might not believe that they can actually do it. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges. You mentioned so many guys go into it and within a couple of months go back.
Probably belief as well.
You know, yes, you got to back yourself. There can be no option B.
Exactly.
And that's the way I see it. I can't go back to being employed somewhere else now. You know, there is no option B.
Awesome. On that revelation, I think it's time to say goodbye. Thank you very much for being here, Scott.
Thank you.
I think there's a lot of information that the guys can get from this episode, and I think there's a lot of revelations that you got out, and giving us some points to look into ourselves as well. But thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, and thanks for having me, and thanks for this platform and allowing us to come onto the podcast. It's wonderful what you guys are doing, and we're grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thank you.